mynews.studio.
A plastic bottle dissolving in seawater within just hours? Could this really change the fate of our oceans?
Today is 2025-07-06. Let's dive in. Plastic pollution is everywhere, but now there's this Japanese invention, plastic that fully dissolves in seawater in 2 to 3 hours. Is it really as good as it sounds?
The research looks promising so far. Unlike the older biodegradable plastics, which can stick around for months or years and often need industrial composting, this new plastic breaks down quickly in the ocean and doesn't leave behind microplastics. That's a significant advantage for marine life.
Hold on, when you say it breaks down, what exactly is left afterward? Should we be concerned about any chemical byproducts?
Good point. The plastic is made from food-safe monomers, so when it dissolves, bacteria break it down into harmless components. No toxic byproducts, no greenhouse gases. If it ends up in soil, it takes around 8 to 10 days to decompose, releasing nutrients like phosphorus and nitrogen. Those nutrients can actually improve soil fertility.
That's a big shift compared to older biodegradable plastics, isn't it? They sometimes leave microplastics or even emit CO2 during breakdown.
Exactly. Many so-called biodegradable plastics only fully break down under industrial conditions, and their decomposition can still harm the environment. What's different here is that over 90% of the byproducts from this Japanese plastic can be recycled and reused. Still, we need more long-term studies to see how it behaves in actual marine environments.
How does this fit into the bigger picture, like those large-scale cleanups or recycling programs? For example, the ocean cleanup has already pulled over 100,000 kilograms of plastic from the Pacific. Is this new plastic meant to replace those efforts, or is it more of a supplement?
It's definitely a supplement. Removing existing plastic is still essential, but we also need to prevent more waste from entering the oceans. This new plastic could cut down on future pollution, but because the current volume of waste is so high, ongoing cleanups and better recycling systems are still crucial.
Speaking of recycling, Norway's plastic bottle return rate is 97%. They even run a recycling lottery. Is that a model other countries could realistically adopt, or does it only work in Norway?
Norway's system is impressive, but it relies on strong infrastructure and public trust. For countries with fewer resources, adapting the model would mean investing in basic collection systems and maybe using mobile technology for rewards. The incentive structure could be customized for local economies, and public education would be key.
What about informal waste pickers? In many countries, they actually do most of the collection work.
Integrating informal waste pickers is crucial. If their role is formalized, giving them access to incentives, training, and better tools, you improve both the efficiency and fairness of the system. Plus, it makes the whole process more transparent and less vulnerable to fraud.
And then there's the grassroots side. Ghana and other countries are seeing progress with community-led initiatives. How important are those compared to big top-down projects?
They're absolutely vital, maybe even more in the long term. Local communities are the ones on the ground. They collect waste, educate others, and ensure that new technologies or policies actually reach people. International support can scale these efforts, but without local involvement, very little changes.
So should international organizations focus more on funding grassroots projects rather than only big tech solutions?
It's not a question of one or the other. The most effective strategy is collaboration. International grants and training, local governments doing outreach and regulation, and community groups managing daily work. When these efforts connect to national or regional strategies, you get real scale and impact.
So putting it all together, we have new science, cleanup projects, strong recycling systems, and grassroots action. Is that enough to actually solve plastic pollution, or is something still missing?
The pieces are coming together, but it's still a global puzzle. We need innovation, infrastructure, education, and collaboration. Each part is necessary. What we're seeing is that real progress is possible, but only when all these elements work in tandem.
That brings us back to the start. Maybe the real question is, How quickly can we scale up these solutions before the problem gets even bigger?
Exactly. Acting quickly is essential, and so is holding on to hope, because the solutions are already within reach.
Thanks for joining us as we unpacked the science, the policy, and the community efforts behind tackling plastic pollution.
We covered seawater dissolving plastics, recycling innovations, and the impact of grassroots movements. The global effort is gaining momentum.
Thank you for listening. This episode was brought to you by mynews.studio. Try it now for free.